There you go. Good morning, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, and here we are again at the Olympian Table. Good morning to you all. We hope you've had a great week as always, and I'm here with my very good friend James Lee and Mr. Jack Williams behind the microphone, pulling the strings.
Yes, the brains behind operation, right?
Definitely.
How you doing, man? I see you got your Shipley's Donuts coffee over there. You didn't bring me a donut.
I know. Only one problem: it's got no Shipley's in it.
No Shipley's, none.
No. I'm not a great lover of the Shipley's coffee, but I'd rather Folgers coffee.
Well, you know, Dunkin' actually has the best coffee when you're looking at the donut shops, in my opinion. You know, everybody's up on Starbucks.
I thought your wife
Dunkin'.
had banned you from donuts.
Oh, I haven't gone in any.
Oh, of course you haven't, James. Of course you haven't, James.
Hey, we have not done any donuts.
Is your wife watching this podcast? That's what you're saying.
Oh, that is quite absolutely.
She just called you. Is that why, to warn you? Don't you take them donuts? Don't you take them donuts?
Tell Steve no donuts.
But yeah, if I can give Shipley's a plug as well, they're a good old Houston, Texas institution.
Speaking of Houston, Texas, how about the Astros? We pulled it even last night, man. So supposedly there's some controversy about a missed call of a strike that went outside. But we in the ninth inning, they scored 7 runs. It was 2-2. So of course they probably thought it was going to go extra innings, but 2-2, man, and they pulled it out. 7 runs scored in the ninth inning to tie up the series.
Is baseball that Rounders game?
Yeah, the diamond. You know, they got the
Rounders.
Balls. Yeah,
okay. I got it.
Kind of like cricket, you know. Yes. So it was good to. I didn't watch it. I don't want to jinx us. So you know what? I'm not going to watch last night. But I know they got to play. They play today at 4:00.
How strong do you think the Astros are?
The Astros are very strong, man. They're first place, so you know they deserve to be where they are. But, you know, we've got that tainted win.
Have they got any chance of winning it this year without being accused of cheating?
Well, that's why we need to win it. In my opinion,
that's the biggest reason, really, isn't it?
We need to win it. We need to go ahead and just kind of hush
prove everybody wrong.
Because we still got most of the same players, so we can go ahead and win it again and prove everybody, let them know, hey.
I feel like singing, wouldn't it be nice? You know,
There you go.
That would be pretty cool.
So kudos to the Astros for tying it up.
When's the next game? It's today?
Today, 4:00 or 4:08, whatever the first.
That must be tough to play them games with that schedule.
Well, here's the deal with baseball. There's no time. So you could have a quick game if it just goes, but you can have a game that's 5 or 6 hours long. It's like the original cricket games. How they used to be like 3 or 4 days long.
5 days long.
Yeah, it's ridiculous that how long they can actually go. But you know, it is what it is. You know, we're glad that we're here at this point, tied up. They play today, and then they'll be back home to try to see.
So they got one more game.
They got one more game in Boston, and then they'll come back home.
Oh, so these are away games.
Yeah, they're in Boston. Yeah, past 3 games have been. They do 2, 3, and then 1-1. I think that's how it goes.
So if Astros win this afternoon,
if they win today, they can actually win it here.
So they actually win that, then they bring it back to Houston, and they win that game, then they're through.
They're done, right?
And then is that the final? They go.
No, they go to the World Series after that. This is just
with just American teams.
Yeah,
of course.
It's,
with just American.
Well,
teams.
It's American teams, but they're international players. Everyone's from somewhere else. Most of the guys.
I told you, it's the only. You know, sport that I know where you can win the World Series with just American people.
They're not Americans.
I thought the Japanese were good at this.
There's a lot of Japanese players.
There are Japanese players. There's a lot of international players in the MLB.
So could they have they could do baseball in Japan and call it the World Series 2?
So Japan, I don't know if you guys know this, a lot of sports bettors will actually bet on Japanese baseball because this baseball only happens seasonally. Japanese baseball, I think, is always happening. So it's like always something to go to.
So we pull from their pool and have them come play over here.
But you just call yourself the world champion.
We are the world champions. You sound like my wife. She says, why do they call it the world champions at the Super Bowls? That's because we are the world champions.
And what's the other countries they have baseball in, Jet? Rounders, sorry. What's
South America.
Oh, yeah. It's all over.
Yeah, it's everywhere.
What's the name of one of the stars for the Astros?
Altuve. There you go, buddy.
That's the one. I actually enjoy watching him. In all fair, I enjoy watching him play around.
Hey, that dude's a little powerful little dude, man. That guy. Look at his foot. His foot's not even on the bag.
The bag?
Yeah, first base when he got on there. But they won, so we're going to encourage them today to win again, and we'll push for them to come on back home and bring that trophy home.
Sounds good to me.
Sounds like a plan.
Absolutely. Let's win the World Series in Rounders.
You got it. So a little bit of real estate, man. A little bit of real estate. Let's
You mean to say this podcast actually covers real estate?
A little bit.
Just a little bit.
Just a sprinkle. Okay. Just a sprinkle. We just want to, keep it live. But there's some real estate stuff going on that we just want to kind of give our opinions on. So
what have we said previously in the podcast about home prices? What did we predict?
That they're going to continue to go up.
And did we predict that at worst case scenario it could flatten off?
Flatten, not come back though.
And then we managed to find this article, which is from.
Was it Yahoo News?
It was actually Yahoo Finance, but it was actually conducted through Goldman Sachs.
Oh, yeah, that is Goldman's forecast.
Yeah, so their forecast on home prices is that they will basically, their model is suggesting that home prices will go up a further 16% by the end of 2022.
16%. Let me pull up my calculator from my house.
But what do you think is driving that, James? I've got my view of it. I just think it's a demand and supply thing again.
That's really what it is, and it's kind of a self-inflicted kind of problem as well when you're looking at the real estate industry between realtors and builders and such. But other than that, outside of the baby boomers, the people that are buying now, millennials, they're the largest group of home buyers. So there's just not enough homes to supply with the demand of this group of home buyers. So with that comes the opportunity to increase prices. And you got the likes of different companies that I won't say their name, but it rhymes with pillow. They'll come in and buy up a neighborhood at bottom price and then do a little change the doorknobs and light fixtures and then sell that home for $50,000-$60,000 more to get a comp that's going to drive everything up. So it's putting homes outside of affordability for some people.
And that's one of the parts that I really find difficult to accept, that people, they don't want to sell the home in a traditional way. And then they sell to a wholesaler or a wholesaling system. And
they think they're getting a deal.
And they think they're getting a deal because they haven't got to show the home and they haven't got to fix it up. And then at the end of the day, they're losing sometimes, hundreds of $1,000s off the top.
A lot of money.
And it's so disappointing that, especially as, we've just gone through a hard time with COVID and everything else, and they're just giving money away. At the end of the day, there's only one way to do things, and that's the right way. And people will benefit by doing that. Can you, good, you brought it up, good, Jack. But this is basically U.S. home price growth accelerates. The case of Zillow National Home Price Index and 20 city composite show prices on the rise since 1987. And this is where they think it's, basically going to go to. How do you think, when we had the crash, James, Houston wasn't affected much to the degree of other cities because our home prices have never really gone up a great deal. But in all fairness, the home prices the last 2 years, 3 years have actually been more than previously as an increase.
Absolutely.
As a company at Century 21, we actually haven't done as many transactions, but because the agents have done pretty well because of the increase in the home, our sales volume has actually gone up because we haven't done as many transactions, but because the sales price of the homes have gone up, it hasn't really affected the agents as such. So, do you think if there was ever a decline in Houston, it would be as much as some of the other cities? California was affected terribly. They
were.
New York was affected because the prices were so high. And, you're talking $1 million house, and all of a sudden the houses have been sold for pennies on the dollar. But I just don't think that's ever going to happen to the level in Houston. Houston, to me, is a very, very stable, solid market.
It is, because we're very diverse in our economy. It used to be all oil and gas, but there's companies that are moving here now. So it is a good mix of what actually has our economy propped up with the real estate piece of it. Although it's been pushed up. I think it's not going to your point. I don't think it's going to get to the point.
And we have an awful lot of. I mean, we do property management, but we have a lot of people, from China, Hong Kong, that actually invest in our market.
Oh yeah, and that alone can push up your market. We have a lot of people flooding in from California and other states that are coming to Texas, that are pushing it up, and coming to Houston specifically, the bigger markets, the Houston, Dallas, San Antonio, Austin areas. So that increases it as well. So you have to qualify so much more for a loan now. There's so many gates that protects a consumer from losing their home. Even with the whole forbearance thing that we went through, when people weren't making their payments for months and months and months, typically they say, hey, you got to make this payment now, or you got to go. No pay, no stay. But they were allowing them to tack that onto the back end in the form of a second lien and allowing people to keep homes, because contrary to popular belief, it is very expensive for a mortgage company to foreclose on someone's home.
It is. I mean, I used to sell foreclosures.
Yeah.
And it's more expensive for banks to foreclose than what it is to possibly do a short sale. And even then, that's such a difficult process to do with the banks, with all the paperwork and the red tape.
Absolutely.
Anytime you deal with attorneys, that can sometimes be a problem. So, moving on. If you would like to sort of...
I would.
Did you see that, what I put in there? Black woman missing for 12 days before she was found dead in a police truck.
Oh, yeah, we got that on there. That was, believe it or not, that's in my home state of Alabama.
Alabama,
yes.
Do they play baseball?
They do play baseball in Alabama. They don't have a professional team, but they do play baseball there. But nevertheless, this young lady, her name was, I think it was number 6, Jack, on the PDF.
Brittany Polo.
No. This woman, her name is Christina Nance. So,
good-looking girl as well.
I don't know what the circumstances were with why she was hanging around this police. So the way I picture it is it's a big parking lot where they keep police vehicles, and apparently this particular van hadn't been in use for a while. And from what they pieced together, she was kind of walking around, hanging out around the area. From the videos that they could actually see, she kind of leaned back on one of the police officer cars, and then time passed on, and to the point of when they were interviewing the chief or lieutenant or whoever it was, he was saying this is a camera that nobody really goes to check every day. It's just one of those, if something happens, okay, now we'll go and look at it to see. So I don't know how much time passed, but they eventually found this woman in the back of this police van, and those are made to keep people in, so you can't get out. Once you get in it, you can't get out of it. So I don't know if she locked herself in by mistake, trying to get away from the elements, or what. But once she got in there, she didn't make it out. They found her in there, and I'm assuming they're going to do an autopsy. They're just trying to find out if there's any kind of issues. But they said it didn't look like there was any foul play. But they noticed some shoes next to the van. Yeah, they said they found her shoes by the van, but it wouldn't that suck if she just got into that thing just thinking she was going to just take a nap, or I don't know, and just got locked in there. And I don't know her background, don't know what she did.
But wouldn't you have thought that in an environment like that, I mean, it would have been difficult to even get into that parking lot?
You would think so, but sometimes maybe they don't even keep them closed up. I don't know. I don't know. It was a parking lot. Here's my thing. I think if I was locked inside a vehicle, if I saw somebody walking by, I would probably scream, yell, kick the door or something, say, "Hey, let me out, let me out." But I don't know what could have happened why they didn't happen. But they said they saw her. She got into the van, and after walking around, and she laid down by some bushes at some point, and then she got up and got into the van. So I don't know if she had something going on with her mentally or what the case was, but she got in there, and she never got out.
Very sad. Really sad.
She never got out. So I
But,
don't know the
I mean,
situation. That's
to me, if you've got police vehicles in there, why was she even in there? You know, it should have been secure.
But and they said that police are in and out of that lot 24 hours a day. So it's like, was she in there and it got too hot for her?
It's in Alabama. I would have thought so.
It gets hot. I mean, it definitely gets hot. But say that she was found inside that thing, and she couldn't get out, and it was an old van too. So they said they purchased it back in 1995, and it was an inmate transport vehicle. But she got in there on her own. That's what it said. September 25th, she got in on her own. But I think that's what happened. She got in there, and then she couldn't get out. She could not get out. So
Very sad for a young lady to do that. Very
yeah,
sad.
it is pretty sad. It is definitely sad for that to happen. Young lady too. That is unfortunate.
So I want to move on to one of my heroes, actually.
Who's your hero?
Colin Powell. Or Colin Powell.
Colin Powell.
I really think he was an absolute mentor. You know, he had so much to do as the first black Secretary of State.
Mm-hmm.
And I really, you know, for whatever reason, regardless whether you agree with his opinions or not, I think, you know, I think he was a great mentor, to be perfectly honest, for a number of people, and hopefully, especially regarding, you know, the black community, you know, I feel about, you know, the black community and opportunity, and hopefully it'll give a good, you know, forefront for, you know, to set an example and a mentor, you know, for other bros, as you call them, and, you know, black folks.
Absolutely.
I thought it was very sad, some of the comments that Mr. Trump made last night, and I think that was, you know, a little bit sad. I thought it lacked dignity, to be perfectly honest. But, you know, he died of complications with COVID. He had, was it prostate cancer?
Prostate
Cancer,
blood,
and Parkinson's.
some blood cancer, something. But it was, they've tied it all with complications from COVID-19. But he did have some cancer.
He had prostate cancer and Parkinson's disease were the two that I was told. But I didn't, to be honest with you, I didn't even know he was sick.
I think a lot of people didn't know. You know, and when you serve in that capacity, you know, the general in the Army, you probably don't share a whole lot of that.
You know, it's funny you say that, because my uncle in the UK, who had a lot to do with looking after my mother, who was in nursing home, he announced to us the other day that he's got prostate cancer, and he's got bone cancer, and he's got all these cancers.
Oh, wow.
And, you know, he's just been diagnosed with it and dealing with all the treatments, and he's dealing with it privately in the UK, and it sort of hits you a little bit.
Yeah. Colin Powell he's been around for a while. I mean, he was 84 years old, so he lived a long life. But he was the general at the time during Operation Desert Storm. Which
is why I disagree with what you guys are saying about this guy. But yeah, or my mic was off. Sorry. Yeah, this is one of the guys who's like the main reason we invaded Iraq. So, and as I don't know if you guys know, but Iraq did start as a holy war through the Bush administration. So I think everyone who was involved in that is corrupt and disgusting. Obviously, no one deserves to go out from cancer like that, but I think personally, the government is in a better place now that he is not in control of it. That's just my opinion, though. I've been
Of
wrong
course,
before.
that's what this show is about. Opinions.
I've been wrong before.
He was a trailblazer and mentor to many, and that's ultimately how we're. But he was leader of the operation.
And it was a
Storm in
different.
91.
In all fairness, it was a different time then.
Doesn't make it any better.
Well, but a lot of people seem to think that the reason why George W. Bush went in there was to finish off the work that his dad didn't complete.
There may be some truth to that.
That they went in to complete what his father didn't complete. So whether that's true or not, I really don't know.
Yeah, by finishing off the Middle East.
Yeah.
But all it done, it solved one problem, but at the same time it created another huge problem. And that's why he was in the war for 20 years.
Yeah, he leaves behind his wife.
And there's never a good time to come out of a war, to be perfectly honest,
Kids,
especially the
of
way we
course.
came out of it. But.
Yeah. But R.I.P. Colin Powell, General Colin Powell. And it says, of course, this headline says dies of COVID, but it wasn't.
Yeah, was it COVID? I don't know. It was blood cancer or something.
Yeah. It wasn't COVID, but of course, they get extra money by calling it COVID.
Yeah, I had to just throw a random. The cameras keep messing up, so I had to throw just an article up there while I was fixing it. Yeah, I don't know why this is COVID.
Yeah. Anywho, so while we're in this same morbid topics, so this is a little bit morbid, but it's a little weird as well. So this lady in Oklahoma had a miscarriage. And she had a miscarriage, and let me see if it gives a city. I don't see a city, but nevertheless, had a miscarriage. 21-year-old Oklahoma woman. She was convicted of first-degree manslaughter, okay, for having a miscarriage. And the prosecutor blamed her for the miscarriage because of her use of methamphetamines. Now, this is the Brittany Pula, she's a member of the Comanche Nation, and she's been sentenced to 4 years in a state prison for manslaughter of the miscarriage of this baby. The autopsy of the fetus showed that it had tested positive for methamphetamines. Now, how far does the reach go
That's what I'm saying.
for this type of thing? So, abortion is legal in some places, okay?
I'm going to fight for my freedom.
It's legal in some places. Now, I don't agree with it, but it is legal in some places. In our own state, there's a fight about with the whole abortion being legal or
It's a touchy subject.
But here it is. You have a woman who, through her own admission, I guess, she did some meth while she was pregnant, and the kid died. And she's in jail for the next 4 years. Now, I don't know what Brittany's record is, but I would assume that it can't be squeaky clean. If they're giving her 4 years for having a miscarriage, I don't know. What it doesn't seem right to me. I'm not saying, I don't know.
They were so ready to throw this lady in jail too. Like,
I just don't understand how far does the reach go into this. Kind of like a pre-crime. That baby could have died of anything.
That's what I was gonna say. Like, if you have a normal miscarriage, are you a murderer now?
Exactly.
You didn't drink enough water.
This is setting a precedent because let's say you have too much Hennessy or I don't know, margaritas.
Yeah.
And you slip down the stairs and the baby dies. Are you at risk of being prosecuted for manslaughter?
Especially in places like Texas, where obviously now you can't do it, but you only had 6 weeks to find out if you were pregnant. Right. Most women don't even know within 6 weeks. So that first 6 weeks, you could just be at the bar chilling, drinking a margarita. Hey, you just turned into a murderer, and you're gonna get 4 years in prison, by the way, for drinking that margarita. Hope it was good.
Yeah, it's this is setting a precedent of
so much for freedom in the US.
Man,
I'm telling you, people think they're so free here, and they're not.
Well, We're freer than most countries, but
That's true.
this case here
I wouldn't
is
agree with that, but there you go.
they're basing this on her being engaged in the commission of a misdemeanor.
Do you think it made a difference because she was
A Native American.
Yep.
Hey man,
From the Comanche Nation.
who knows? It could. I didn't see a picture of her, but she's part of the Comanche tribe, and
Yeah. They're in OKC. It's because she was Native American.
yeah.
I don't know.
But who knows, man? It just seems a bit much. It says the fetus was between 15 and 17 weeks old, according to the ME's report. So which means it wasn't viable outside the womb yet, anyways. But still doesn't give you the right to kill it if you're going to kill it, in my opinion. But the fact that it did, anything could have caused this fetus to die. And you kind of look at it and say, okay, does she deserve 4 years in state prison though? Does she deserve anything?
I think the whole thing's ridiculous.
Yeah, I don't think it's a
I just think
thing
it's
about if she deserves the time. I think we all know that the way the U.S. system works is they want to put you in prison because they make money off of you being.
Oh yeah, it's a private source now, private
Yeah,
entity. It's private business.
there's more people in prison in America, as a percentage than any other country.
So it's interesting that you say that, guys. This is completely off topic, but I heard an interview this morning, and it talked about the music industry back in the 90s, 1991 to be specifically. There was a meeting that took place with a bunch of, studio heads and then some artists that came in to this meeting. It was an invite-only kind of meeting. Everyone that got there had to sign a confidentiality agreement, gag order, whatever, that kind of deal. Make sure you can't say anything when they came to this meeting. So some people signed it, some people left, or whatever, and went on out of there. These were hip-hop artists at the time. So from what this guy says is during that meeting, they talked about business and how the prisons were, at the time, they hadn't been privatized, or they were looking to privatize prisons, making them a business. People were owning and investing in them, blah, 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 so on and so forth. And back in the 90s, there was maybe 500 prisons. What they instructed these people, or what they wanted them to do, is they said, we're trying to look at increasing the revenue in this business. So we want you to interject in the music, talk about the lifestyles of, gang banging and stealing and robbing, and glamorize that.
Yep.
So that they could increase the population and build on this business. And here we are in 2021, and there's over 1,800 prisons right now. And the guy was it was kind of his confession, because he's not in the industry anymore. But he just said, man, I'm just putting it all on the line because right now I have nothing to lose. So he talked about that meeting that they had in 1991. And if you look back through hip hop, where the turn took place on when you had your Queen Latifahs and your Heavy D's and the positive rap kind of people, to where it made a turn. It turned into gangster rap. And you had folks come out there and boom, that's what it was. Now, I can't say that all the guys that were involved that came after 91 were complicit, knowingly complicit, but that's where the industry went if you look back at what music was. And man, it worked. It absolutely worked. Because there's prisons, man, and they are privatized. And it's ridiculous at how many we
I wonder
have.
how them prison companies, I wonder how much they throw to politicians.
Who knows?
Jack,
We'll never know.
Jack, see the link I just sent you? Can you pull that up?
We'll never know how much they throw to them at all.
I really think it's these lobbyists that lead to, corruption within. Look at this. US will surpass China as the #1 country for manufacturing in 2020. Go down. I thought that was incarceration.
Like it's about.
Oh, that's manufacturing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But anywho, it was interesting that you said that about the prisons, man, because that's whew. That is.
And I think it's interesting when you break up the percentage from a racial standpoint.
This is interesting. Put you both on here. Top contributors for 2021 to 2022: Core Civic, CEO Group or GEO Group, sorry, and Management and Training Corps. There's a very heavy leaning side here.
Ooh, the Republicans.
Yeah. And I'll say, like, at least in my experience, it's the Republican states or Republican-controlled governments that are really, really good at disparaging the communities. For example, like in Georgia, we saw earlier this year with the voting, just stuff like that. Like they really like to take advantage, and it's like, of course, it's going to be easier to pass laws in those states because the marginalized people are poor as hell, so they can't do anything. All the people making the laws in these in these states are old, rich white people, or not even white people, but old, rich people, who can just lobby money around, and it doesn't affect them, and they get to make money from it. So I'm not surprised. This is not a surprise to me.
Oh no, not at all.
At all. But for-profit prisons, yes, looks like we got almost $3 million in contributions.
And you see, to me, that's what leads to a lot of the corruption that you've got in the US. It's the PACs and the corporations throwing money to the politicians. I mean, common sense tells you it's not going to do.
Of course, and like
I said, it's not going to achieve anything as such.
Georgia, right there at the top, and Kelly Loeffler is like the most disgusting human I've ever seen in my life, and it just surprises me that people in Georgia would even vote for somebody. I think she had 2 terms, if not even 1 term. Someone who is openly insider trading on her position.
Really?
Yes.
Oh yeah, dude, you gotta read about it. Her husband is like the something, and it's like the regulator in the stock market, like super up there.
So it's funny. So they write the Constitution to limit the terms on the presidency, but these jokers can stay in office for ever.
And they have more power, I think.
They do have more power
than the president.
They do, because the president can write executive orders, but I mean, you can only go so far with it.
Yeah.
But with these guys, man, they're there forever. Oh well, we're not trying to make this political, but you know, sometimes it gets political on the table, baby.
Yeah.
You got to get ready for. You never know what we say. The war on drugs. Yeah, there is no war on drugs.
The famous war on drugs.
Yeah.
The American prison population has skyrocketed. Okay, so in the 70s when he declared the war on drugs, right? Where's the graph at? This year? What is this y-axis?
Doesn't say. I would guess it'd be the year span, though.
Yeah, it doesn't go back long enough.
Yeah. It's a terrible increase. We do know that.
Yeah, we know it looks like the Bitcoin chart, but
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely looks like a Bitcoin chart.
yeah. So,
Oh well. But that's we know it happens, and it's, you know, it's unfortunate, but
I think that'll be fixed though in the next 5 or 10 years. I personally do. Now that might just me being optimistic, but
you think with passing laws
I don't know if it gets fixed, but I think we'll start to chew away at the problem, especially now that we're out of the Middle East and all that. There's a lot of money that needs to go places. So, but
well, I will say this: President Trump, as much as, you know, many don't like him, with that First Step Act, with you know, decriminalizing, you know, marijuana and some of the charges some of these guys are actually locked up. I had a family member myself that was, you know, some of that information he was able to benefit from some of that. So hopefully they can get some of them people up out of there. But of course, when you're locking up people for manslaughter, for having a miscarriage, shoot, you never know what.
Well, there's something wrong with that reasoning, isn't there?
Yeah, absolutely.
That's really what it boils down to.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, cool.
So next topic.
I guess we can pivot a little bit. So I don't know if anyone's noticed, with the exception of Amazon, but the shipping time for just about anything has increased. Things that we used to get, 2-3 days would be, now you're looking at a week, 2 weeks, maybe even. So there are 80,000 truck drivers needed to fix this supply chain. I saw some pictures somewhere that I think they had in the port of Los Angeles. They just had ships, boats out just kind of waiting to get in, to get this goods to the consumers. The price of gas, of course, is up. The price of food is up. Man, I tried to go in and buy a pack of chicken.
It's the same in Europe at the moment.
Can't find it.
It's the same in Europe.
Wait, but the SEC the federal chair told me that the inflation was transitory, though.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, so I tend to believe my government when they tell me that things are transitory.
Yeah. Okay. It's ridiculous on how things have kind of been, the timing it's taking to get it. They're short 80,000 drivers.
So let me take it one stage further. All right. Because they're short of 80,000 drivers, do you think that will speed up autonomous vehicles?
No.
See, I think it will.
I think we're ways away from that still.
Yeah.
I can barely get people to fill out an electronic application for a mortgage, much less get in a car that doesn't have a person behind the wheel.
Yeah.
I mean, it could happen.
I think it'll be available within 5 years.
You think it'll be available in 5 years?
Yeah. I think it's possible.
It may be available in 5 years,
but the infrastructure is not good enough for it yet. All the roads and stuff.
Because if they're speeding or they make an illegal left turn or run into somebody, who do you ticket? I think that's a problem that we're not ready for, at least not yet. But
the computer coder.
But who knows? But I do know with this the Los Angeles port, Joe Biden had mentioned about keeping the ports open 24/7. Yeah, he's a genius because there ain't enough people to work at 24/7. But it's come to that point to where we're not getting goods fast enough. And even working at 24/7 is not really answering. We're just short people.
Right.
We're short people. They move over 70% of the goods to the U.S. economy. And if you're down 80,000 people, man, if there was any job advice, we'd say, go get your CDL. And you can probably,
those suckers make like $50K a year.
They make at minimum. Yeah. Shoot, they make you can make more than that.
For some of the long haul drivers are making 125K a year.
Absolutely, easily
150K a year.
Now you're on the road a lot by yourself, but man, you can make some money and do it even if it's for a little while.
Because a lot of these trucks now are already autonomous. Just so you know.
The trucks, the driving trucks.
One of our agents in the office who flips properties. He works for a trucking company, and the government have just paid them an astronomical amount of money to go onto natural gas on the trucks. So they're literally updating their whole fleet for the company that he works for. He works in the oil business, and they've got a lot of technology now. So when they're driving a truck, if they take their eyes off the road for so long, it sets off alarms and all sorts of things.
I mean, my car has that. That's not autonomous. So when we say autonomous, we're talking
about
no.
But it's coming.
You put your chair in a 180 and you put some headphones on and you're out of there.
You're chilling.
But it's still, by 2025, fully automated safety features, highway autopilot.
I don't know. We'll see.
I think it's coming. I really do.
The technology is there. They do it with the planes. That's how the planes fly.
Yeah.
But so we know that it's possible. I just don't know that it's going to be mad. There's so much liability in that, man. I don't know.
Hey, if autonomous vehicles are coming, how do I long insurance companies right now? Somebody tell me how I get long on insurance companies, because that's going to go to the moon.
They're probably paying the politicians to delay it.
Man, yeah, insurance companies for sure, because that's going to be that'd be an issue, bro, for sure.
Insurance going to be.
But they reckon they've done the numbers, and they reckon that they're saying it's benefits of automation. The safety benefits of automated vehicles are paramount. Automated vehicles' potential to save lives and reduce injuries is rooted in one critical and tragic fact: 94% of serious crashes are due to human error. Now, how that plays out in real life is how we're going to find out.
Well, here's the problem. As autonomous as they want to be, there's going to be humans driving on the road next to them.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Sometimes
it can be an issue.
Sometimes what I wonder is, though, take Uber and Lyft.
Mm-hmm.
Is that the first stage of an autonomous vehicle?
no,
Or an
because
autonomous system, you know?
you can,
Because
as
they
far
got
as
the
testing,
software when they see it's
as
coming,
far as testing it.
then do away with the driver, then you just jump in, say where you're going.
Or
be.
you know what you could do? You can release a beta on your private car company known as Tesla as a
Yeah.
self-driving service, even though it's not a self-driving service, and just use the people who buy your products as lab rats to do it for you, which is
Well,
totally
that's-
not what's happening right now. Or
Right.
anything. But that's probably the best way to do it.
Yep.
Have you noticed there's a big push by Amazon at the moment to basically tell people that they're employing people?
Oh yeah.
Have you noticed that's a lot of publicity going out with Amazon?
There's a lot
at the
of
moment?
there's a lot of people doing that, Steve. People aren't working.
You know?
They're not working like they have been.
I don't blame them either.
Yeah, but it's interesting. It'll be interesting come this holiday season to see if these kiddos get their toys from Santa Claus.
Not with the supply shortage.
With the supply shortage, we'll see what happens. I just want my meat to come back down, man. The price of meat is ridiculous. Pack of steaks, man, $65, $70. Come on, man, that's crazy.
Well, in England at the moment, in Europe, there's gas shortages. But part of the problem, they've actually just brought, I don't know if you heard, they brought in the military because there's been a bit of disturbance. There's a few disturbances going on at the gas stations. But basically, it's a supply problem.
Yeah.
Like you said, there's people stuck in the channel and they've got no way of getting the stuff. From the
Can't
channel.
get it. And not get in it.
It's a transportation problem.
Unfortunately. Oh man. Okay, so I saw this the other night and I had to throw it in here. Bill Cosby's back in the news. And this young
Is he pushing
lady,
in drugs again?
this young lady is saying that he drugged and repeatedly raped her. And I don't know if it was on the set of the show or what the case is. Quite frankly, I don't know who this Lily Bernard person is. And just for those that know, there was The Cosby Show and then Cosby Show that aired. So not to be mixed up, I guess, with the original. But she was an actress on this show, and apparently Bill Cosby, she's suing him for $154 million. Oh, look at that, Gloria Allred. She's not an opportunist at all. But he basically would come in and drug her.
How many years ago was this?
Well, let's see when the Cosby Show was on. Let me see.
Part of the thing that fascinates me, not that I'm defending Cosby, is
Why now?
Yeah, how many years ago is this? How did she come up with 125 million?
Yeah, I was just waiting for y'all to finish. Like,
How does she come up with 125 million?
Oh, maybe this was the original The Cosby Show. So
why is it taken this long to come out? Why is she not one of the people that originally sued, Cosby?
right, exactly. Why didn't she come out then?
and yeah. So hold on. Before
This dude is 84 years old.
So if Bill Cosby was worth 400 million, was not worth 400 million, would this lady be suing for 25% of his
His income.
net worth? I don't know. I hope so. Like, I hope she does. She would if this actually happened, but I don't know.
Oh, she appeared on the show. She guest starred on the Cosby Show as Mrs. Minifield in 1984. So at a press conference in 2015, she alleges that Cosby gave her a drugged drink and raped her. So 2015, 6 years ago, 78 years old. Come on.
That fool couldn't even see what he was putting.
Come on, Lily. So do we believe the woman?
I'm not going to say I disbelieve
We
her.
should believe her.
but I'm gonna say it's a sussy story. I need more information. Definitely need more information.
This I don't know. She says he praised me, he lifted me up. I believed him. After all, he was Bill Cosby. After he had won my complete trust and adoration, he drugged me and raped me. He also made a complaint. She made a complaint to the cops, but prosecutors did not proceed because the alleged offense was before. I don't know. I don't know, guys. It's unfortunate that if this happened, that this would have happened to her. It never should happen. He should never be allowed to do that. But you just kind of wonder why it just comes out now. And I don't know. She says she's coming forward to show her 6-year-old daughter to stand in truth and to say that she's survived Bill Cosby's drugging and raping. So
6 years old, pretty young. I don't know if a 6-year-old is capable of processing all that information.
Yeah.
But good for her.
Good for her. That's her stance. Yeah. But as you put it, it sounds kind of sussy.
Yeah, it's a little sussy.
Sounds a little sussy, as Jack put it. Ooh, that's funny. Speaking of sussy, let's drop the number 9. So we know this dude was sussy. Jussie Smollet.
Oh yeah. This guy.
He was hoping that this case got dismissed when he claimed that someone in a red MAGA hat in the middle of the night in Chicago in sub-zero temperatures as he was walking the subway approached him and said, "Hey, this is MAGA country," and beat him to a pulp. Well, not beat him to a pulp, but tried to accost him. And he kind of fended him off, or whatever the case is.
He was a hero.
Made him all this story, and come to find out that supposedly it was some guys that he had hired to do it, and all the resources that the city put out there to investigate, and the money that was spent, all of that. The city was coming after him, and supposedly they're not going to dismiss this.
Good.
And they're going to go forward with trial, and it is set for November the 29th. Right after Thanksgiving, buddy. You got some turkey in you, then you got to go to court.
I forgot what.
You know what he needs to do? No, you know what he needs to do? Just accuse Bill Cosby of having sex with him and sue him.
Here's the hole in this trial. The two guys that supposedly beat him up, the brothers, they admitted that they helped him. They kind of like, hey man, we helped stage the whole deal. What are we having a trial about? What are you going to get into the courtroom and say that would save you? What could you say? I don't understand. What could be said?
This happened back in 2019.
Oh yeah,
I thought it was 2020.
No, this is before COVID.
Something else happened when he did this. It was like a big racist thing happened, like Breonna Taylor, George Floyd level of thing, and then he did.
Oh, it was a whole run of it. Yeah,
and
it was a whole run of it.
I'm trying to figure out what. Or remember.
Well, of course, that's when Trump was still in the White House, so it was just a whole run of racism, blah blah blah, so on and so forth. So that was kind of the narrative that was in everything. So when this came out, it was kind of believable. It's
everyone was on this dude's side.
Yeah, everybody was on this side, man. Justice for Jussie, and it was just, man.
But he was attention seeking. I just want the limelight. I want to make some money on it. I want to get my Instagram up, and that's the problem with all the Instagram and the Facebook, and it encourages people to just put stuff out there that he's just attention seeking.
Yeah, so that was a little bit of.
Tell me the world is coming to an end tomorrow, so my followers can come up, and then my engagement can come up.
Absolutely. It's unfortunate that it was.
And there's
that
a lot
way.
of people now that that's how they look on social media. Well, it's just attention seeking, and it's it's all false, and I think that's unfortunate.
Yeah. So it is definitely unfortunate in this case because it was all a farce. But I'll be following just to kind of see what happens because I'm interested. I mean, if you got people that can confess, hey, yes, Steve, we did it, but we're gonna go to court anyway. I mean, what do you say? What do you say? So,
I don't know. Hey Jack, did you see that link I just sent you? Just to fall back on that.
Jack, no. It's gonna be. I'd rather.
Look at this. Countries with the largest number of prisoners.
oh yeah, we knew that though. Yeah.
I mean, look, but we're even more than China.
Oh yeah, we knew that. I knew that's not a surprise at all. It's money.
That's
we
just-
make it's
that's just
it's
nuts.
private here, so that they make money off of it.
You know, I just find that so.
We'll see if they put in Mr. Smollet in prison after this made up story, like they're doing this lady in Oklahoma for the miscarriage. So we'll see what happens.
Unbelievable. It's like the answer is throw him in jail and throw the key away.
Exactly.
And
Well,
that-
it's
and that's
it's
the
money.
part that's.
It's a money thing, so that's why let's throw him in there. So I guess while we're in that same vein, man. So this guy that went into the school in Parkland, Florida.
Yeah, tell me about this. She was catching up on that this morning before the podcast.
I got the alert that they went in. So this guy that went into Douglas High School in Parkland, Florida. We know this happened back in 2018. Killed 17 people. He went and put in his plea for the charges. There were 34 counts. 1 to 17 were murder counts, and then 18 to 34 were attempted murder counts. But they detailed, and it's on YouTube. We'll have to find the link. They detailed what this guy did. He went to the school. He had an Uber driver drop him off at the school. And he had this bag full of rifles. Had a Smith & Wesson MP5.
Did the Uber driver even realize what was in the bag?
Who knows? That Uber driver was just trying to pay his bills. You know what I'm saying? But they said
Can you imagine how that Uber driver feels?
Probably feels terrible if he knew that he dropped that guy off. But what was he to do though?
I know.
Yeah, what was he to do? He got into the school and
Time to pay double for his
was
bills because then he's going to get
in the
shot.
stairwell when he got into the school, and he said somebody walked by while he was, kind of unloading his stuff.
Told him to run.
He said, "Hey man, you better get out of here. It's something bad's about to happen."
Yeah.
So that dude got up out of there, and then this guy went in and started just shooting fools. And they talked about how he shot one of the teachers, and the teacher kind of got off in one of the little alcoves to try to hide. And as he went down the hallway, got down there and saw that the dude was still alive, shot him, killed him. He was just very calculated in it. And he made an apology, like a confession, not a confession, but and I'm sorry, blah, 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 for what I did. I know you don't believe me.
He also did a video before. And he was
Did
like,
he?
yeah, so he was like, so today is October 20th, say tomorrow is October 21st, and I'm going to go shoot up Parkland. On October 20th, he was like, so today is Thursday, October 20th. Tomorrow I'm going to be the biggest school shooter in history. Like, he did that. So, like, he was fully mentally aware of what he was doing.
He was aware.
Yeah.
He's aware. So basically, it's whether he gets the death penalty or life in prison. Now, I used to be a big proponent of the death penalty.
Me as well.
Hey, just say, hey, you know what? Kill him.
Yep.
He did it. Kill that fool. I'm not anymore.
Yeah. Me as well.
I have a different stance about it. That's not our call, in my opinion. But nevertheless, he does deserve to go to jail for the rest of his life on Earth, I believe. But I'm not with the death penalty thing. So that's we'll see what happens. I didn't stay on long enough to see when the actual sentencing would take place. But with the charges for the attempted murder, they were trying to just go ahead and get that running already, and then determine with the if there's going to be the death penalty or not for it. So, but yeah, that he's there, man, and it's terrible. It's terrible. I would say this: it's a long time to wait to get him to just plead guilty. I mean, we already know he did it, but shoot, 3 years to just come in and say, "Oh yeah, I plead guilty to it," and then to wait for a sentencing. That seems like but there's money in it, right? There's money in we've kind of been in that same vein. There's money in these prison systems. So, yeah, he's been there for a long time. Just to find out what his fate is. So we shall see what happens with him. But it was if you get an opportunity to listen to the story, the details, because they go through and read what he did and who he shot and how many times he shot him.
Yeah.
And it was tough listening to it, especially if because they name each person that he shot, and some of the family members are there in the courtroom, and just listening to it and seeing them, kind of go into some of the family as they call out the names of those that were actually killed on that day. So, yeah, it was tough.
Yeah, then he went to
What's the general feeling online about just put him in the chair? Or
Well, of course, that's what everybody's going to say. Kill him. Yeah, that's what most folks are going to say. That's just not my stance on it. Oh yeah, that was his apology. They were listening to it. It sounds very juvenile.
how old is he now?
I'm very sorry for what I did,
like
and I have to
20,
live with it every day. And that if I were to get a second chance, I would
When
do
he-
everything in my
when
power
he
to
did
try
it,
to
how
help
old was
others. And I am doing
think
this
that
for
was-
you, and I do not care.
How old was he
Yeah,
when the
he
shooting
He had to
happened?
have been less than 18.
Yeah.
So in that case, should he be?
'Cause it was
should
3
he be
years ago.
Tried as a juvenile? Or?
He's 23.
Nah.
It happened like 3 years ago.
Oh, it was 3 years ago. So he was 20.
It's in Florida.
Yes, it was Florida.
Florida, man.
It was Parkland, Florida. Yep.
Everything happens in Florida.
Yeah.
We need to get like a big group of like 50,000 people with a bunch of chainsaws and just go over there and saw it off the coast of the United States.
Jack has a sort of a real estate love for Florida.
Hey man, they have some issues. Well, we have our own set of issues, but man, it seems like Florida. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd say some.
They're like
Florida.
back to back to back to back to back to back to back. Absolutely.
So,
But yeah.
as always, I'm going to pull it back to real estate.
Yeah, go ahead, man.
So, let's talk about the plunging stock
Smoking.
of Zillow.
Oh yeah, did you put that in?
Yeah,
I
it's
think
in.
let me see.
Yeah,
What number?
It's not on the list. I think he just threw it in there.
it was in. I put it in last night.
Uh,
But basically,
like the second to last one.
Zillow one time was buying these wholesaling deals, and they put that on hold for the next couple of months because I guess Zillow's having a bit of a cash crunch. Zillow was trading in, basically at one time for $212, and on Monday it finished the day perilously close to its 52-week low at $85.
Oh wow.
So basically, it's been an 8-month decline, basically, despite a red-hot US market. Now, the question is, some people are saying, well, is this the start of a housing crash? I personally say absolutely not. It's nothing to do with a housing crash.
Started a Zillow crash.
Well, I think people need to realize that the stock market is not correlated to the economy at all, period.
Right, exactly.
Like, just because the stock is going down doesn't mean the economy is going down.
Not at all.
And one of the things that was interesting about this Yahoo Finance ad, it says, is Zillow a canary in the residential real estate coal mine? And, the truth of the matter is I've never been a Zillow
Man.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think it's done more harm to the industry than anything else.
Yeah, and then just because we talked about it earlier, I'm going to say I disagree. I think the people in the industry have done the damage to themselves.
I agree. I don't disagree with you
I don't think
on
it's
that.
Zillow's fault at all. I think Zillow is opportunists, and they took
are.
advantage of
Yep.
of what was in front of them. I think the people in charge of the market at the time fumbled the bag, the biggest bag in history, and they're paying the price for it right now.
I agree, because to your point, they come in and they
But
buy.
the
they
National
buy
Association
these
of
bonds.
Realtors never sold Zillow. Zillow started up as an opportunist company.
No, but what he's saying is that us as trade people in the market, realtors, and not necessarily us, 'cause we don't control that, but realtors, let's just call it what it is, get into the market and they're helping get these homes sell. They'll go and work for Zillow. It'll be what they quote unquote a Zillow agent. And as Zillow comes in and they buy all these houses and they sell them for more than what they are, they get propped up because they need realtors to do it, and realtors get online. Sometimes even us as lenders were buying. I
get calls all the time from Zillow.
I do too.
And people think that I'm the listing agent,
Right.
but I'm not. I'm just buying leads from Zillow.
They were a monster, a monopoly.
And the Zillow's estimate is just not factual.
Yes.
And that's the part that annoys me. You know, and when they turn around and say, well, there's more listings on Zillow than any other system, well, no, not quite.
I think by definition there might be, but that doesn't, you know what I mean?
A lot of them is stuff that's sold a long time
Right,
ago.
exactly.
And it's not some of the statuses don't change.
Yeah, no, exactly. But they probably do have a lot of listings in there, and as we know, it's because if you see a listing you want, what do? You reach out to the person to buy it. And so I think that's what they're doing. But yeah,
Zillow doesn't fully depend on the algorithm, though. It uses humans to confirm things before it writes a check. And the ongoing labour shortage is why it's hit a pause. Zillow will still have a flow of new houses coming in for months, as it lets owners pre-schedule closing dates and plans to honour any existing contracts. But where they was buying properties, I still say go out and get yourself a good agent, because a good agent's going to offer you much more points than Zillow will ever offer you, to be perfectly honest. And Opendoor is another one as well. What they're basically doing, folks, is all these companies are making money on you. At least it's limited, with a real estate agent, on how much money you're losing from the deal, because it's maximized from that.
Right.
But, when you're talking, $50,000, there was one of them that we had. We sold the property for $370,000, and one of these companies was going to give them $297,000.
yeah.
So, you're leaving money on the table by going to these, quick, fast programs or wholesalers. And so,
Something I think is interesting, Zillow year to date is down I wish they put it on here. Okay, so about 50%, but they still have 10x the market cap, or 11x the market cap of Realogy, which is a parent company that controls 4 brokerages.
4 of the largest one. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't think
Realogy's at
Zillow cares.
$20.
Huh?
Realogy's at.
Yeah, but that has to mean that they have billions of shares
Yeah.
in the and plus with Realogy, I know since it's one of those big corporate businesses, I bet you they're paying employees in shares as well. So that's probably why it's so diluted. But I mean, even then, you're still down 11x on the market cap in billions. So it's not looking good for other companies. Zillow's down 50%, and they're still pretty much leading the market in growth.
Well, that might be why EXP's down too, because they had been hovering around $80.
They're trading
$75-$80
on
what's EXP running at now?
They're $48 right now.
what's the ticker? Do you know?
EXPI, I think is what it is. Yep, $48. They had gone up for a while. People were talking about it, pushing it, which I don't understand why they were running it. But
These guys are still 4x on the market cap. So, yeah. Nice little 16-cent dividend, though.
yep. Yeah, they have been down a bit, but nevertheless, man, it's one of those things where you just got to kind of ride it and see.
Yeah, but not the same dividend as Bitcoin recently.
Ooh,
Yeah, never.
I'm loving my Bitcoin.
What was it this morning? 47?
47? Bitcoin? 67,
No, sir.
sir.
Yeah, we're in the 60s, my friend.
67.
Oh, sorry, 67. Sorry. I'm trying to pull something up.
Yeah, it was nice. Very, very nice. Who had this Tesla deal in here? Oh, was that you, Steve, or was that yours, Jack?
I thought it was you.
Was it?
I don't know. Yeah, it was you, fool.
Was it?
Yeah.
Oh yes,
Yeah, with the
I
black-
remember.
the black dude.
But so check it out. So I was talking to my son.
Yeah.
I didn't really, I thought it was a business thing. So talking to my son about just trades, plumbers, electricians, blah blah blah. And I said, man, even elevator mechanics,
Yeah.
those guys, they're a dying breed. They make money. Because I was also talking about appraisers. We don't have enough of them. We need blah, blah, blah. So he said, hey, Dad, did you hear about the elevator? He thought it was the elevator mechanic. And I was like, no, at Tesla? I was like, no, I didn't hear about him. So we pull up this story, dude. So this guy apparently worked as an elevator operator. And I imagine, he's got a little worker suit on. What floor? Boom. He sits in an elevator, lets you know what floor you go on, greets you, have a nice day, whatever.
Oh, like at the bougie place.
Yes.
I got you.
So this dude endured people calling him the N-word, having racist. He worked as a operator in 2015, I think it was, and I was thinking it was like a long time ago. Telling him to go back to Africa. Man, it just ridiculous stuff that happened in this building that apparently was reported, and nobody ever did anything about it. No one did anything about it. It got to the point to where he said he was suffering sleepless nights because they were literally bullying this guy into, as he was working. He was just working the elevator. And this thing went to court, and the jury awarded him $130 million in punitive damages and $6.9 million in emotional distress. $137 million for being called the N-word and go back to Africa.
Yo, I got a question for you,
and working
James.
for years.
Would you be cool with that happening to you for $137 million?
Would I be cool?
Or would you not?
I would say, you know what? I'll take my money. $137 million.
I want to know how they come to 137
Well,
million.
That's the thing. It's a jury, so they can come up with whatever number they want to come up with. They probably look at Tesla,
$1 billion company.
billion-dollar company, billionaire owner. This guy dealt with this crap for however long he dealt with
It's
it.
obviously not right to do, but how do you come up with
Yeah, it's
137
it's
million?
egregious. And quite frankly, $130 million to Elon Musk is, it's a lot of money, but
It's like $50.
yeah, they'll be fine. They'll get it back. But I don't know, man. It didn't make any sense on how they were doing it. And supposedly they knew that, it's not a perfect working environment. We know that it's not perfect, but we've come a long ways from 5 years ago. It's like, really, what were y'all doing 5 years ago? If this guy's dealing with this now, what is it that you're dealing with now that you don't have some diversity or some kind of inclusion or some kind of training or something for these folks?
I guess now he can take the title of the highest paid elevator.
Well, of 137, if I threw my calculations, he might get 40 million of that money. So, but 40 million,
Who gets the rest? The attorneys?
Attorneys get it. You got to pay taxes.
The state of California.
Right? Yeah, you got to pay your taxes, man. So, 40 million bucks, he can retire. And
I'm just curious, do you have some tech bros that are down getting coffee in the lobby, and then they're on the way up to the third floor, and they're go back to Africa?
Right.
What happened? What happened in between ages?
Exactly.
I find it, not that I'm saying I don't believe him, but I mean, honestly, the environment that we have here, and just a small little company and companies that I've worked with, I mean, I just can't see that happening definitely in our culture.
Right.
And I would be so disgusted if anything happened like that in our culture.
Well, here's what I think was also a contributing factor. This is not the first lawsuit of this type against Tesla.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So apparently they were ordered to pay another guy. He got $1 million just back in August. So I'm assuming that when the prosecution were going at it, they said, listen, this is a behavior that they've accepted. This is just kind of the environment. So now we need to hit him in the pocket for sure. They gave this guy $1 million. We're gonna give this one $137 million.
I mean, it's disgusting if that's going on in a business environment.
Yeah.
No.
It really
go ahead,
is.
James.
Yeah, I was going to say that guy. He said the Barry guy that got the $1 million in August. He resigned after all of this stuff happened to him back in 2015 as well. And he said supervisors were calling him the N-word, and that there was racist graffiti all over the place that he saw. It's like, sheesh. And the newer guy, Mr. Diaz, Owen Diaz, he says, and this was a little disappointing. He said that Elon Musk never acknowledged it, never, even had a letter drafted to say, hey, sorry for blah, 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 or nothing. Never reached out to him, nothing at all. So I was like,
So is that a personal problem on his end?
For the guy?
Yeah, or is it something that was ever brought?
Well, you just think, even if it was a form letter, you would think that the guy would get some
Fake
kind of
signature on it.
something,
Yeah.
exactly. Something to say, hey, man, I'm sorry for
At least
acknowledging the fact
what about
that
the
this
communication systems within the company?
Yeah.
I mean, is it something that, his staff tried to hide, or
I don't know.
the building manager tried to hide, or
Who knows, man? It's unfortunate.
because all it knows is now that he's costing Elon Musk, as far as I'm concerned, a lot of money.
A lot of money.
So imagine you're going to work and you're an elevator dude and you're getting told to go back to Africa, all this other racist BS, and then you have your CEO of your company posting shit on Twitter like this. Like, I would be so mad. Just posting memes all the time, and you're here at work getting rammed just because of your race, and then your CEO is off doing whatever, just laughing at memes and stuff when you're getting marginalized in your workplace. So
That's unfortunate.
like, that's all he does. I guarantee you will never meet someone who hates Elon Musk more than me. So this is the wrong guy to be talking.
So you're
about.
glad it should have been double, huh, Jack?
Yeah, no, I should have been. Yeah.
Give him 270 million. But yeah, $40 million to the guy. I say, man, if you're being racist to someone just cause, back to your point, it's like, what the heck happened to get to that point? But you deserve to pay some money out of your pocket.
Yeah. And instead of paying these two fines for $100+ million, why don't you just hire some HR dude for like a couple $100,000 to deal with things like this?
Deal with this kind of stuff, man.
Yeah.
You got to do something. And I shoot. But it was interesting seeing that. My son told me about it. I was like, oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Musk.
Mr. Musk, you got that right.
Pretty much everything. We got one more thing, huh? That's the last thing.
Yeah, that wasn't mine. Who was that?
This was me. I put this in there. This actually came up this morning before we walked in. So In-N-Out, in San Francisco, there is an In-N-Out that got shut down by the city, I believe. The In-N-Out location was closed by the San Francisco Department of Public Health last week because employees were not preventing the entry of customers who were not carrying proper vaccination documentation.
What?
So the business got shut down because they were not logging. So if I'm going through the drive-through and I don't have my vaccination card on my phone or something, am I not allowed to get a burger?
What kind of craziness is that?
Yeah.
That's nuts.
No.
Let's all use common sense again.
Exactly. Just use some common sense. I mean, my goodness, that makes no sense at all. That overreach. There we are. That overreach. A little bit of that freedom that we talk about, huh, Steve?
Yeah.
Yeah. I really think that in America there's not as much freedom as people like to think.
Well,
really don't.
with the way
we're
things
more controlled than what.
Then we realize.
Yes, absolutely.
Or we want to admit, shall I say?
In England, you have more freedom than some of the stuff that goes on over here.
Yeah.
They really
Unless
do.
you're talking about the Queen. Can't speak against the royal family.
That's nothing to do with freedom. That's just to do with, you just leave them.
I can
to
talk about the
themselves.
Queen here.
What's that?
I can talk about the Queen here.
You can do. But it's, but I mean, that's just.
But I can't get in and out without my vaccination card, though.
Can't buy a burger.
Yeah.
In and out sucks anyway. Go Whataburger.
So I guess it doesn't matter anymore. If I want cheese on my burger anymore, I can't even get the burger.
You can't get the burger, man. You need the card. Just go to Whataburger. Whataburger will allow you to get in and get your burger
That is just nuts.
and your fries.
That's just nuts.
Yeah. And this
Absolutely.
guy brings up a good point. Let me pull it up on the. Are the employees security guards? If not, why do they expect them to put their lives on the line for a minimum wage job?
Exactly.
Yeah. And that's what I would say. I'm like, dude, I'm not a security guard. I'm getting paid to cut your fries.
I'm about to make these burgers, fool.
Yeah, like
grill these onions.
you want me to run tabs on the vaccination cards? Throw me an extra $50 an hour.
That is not my field. I'm doing monster style.
But meanwhile, in other parts, let's see what this.
And one of the parts that is sort of strange in a way. Just a general point with America. You know, they turn around and say the United States of America. It seems like we're so divided among states.
On some, we
I
are.
mean, when you look
many
at
things.
what's going on in Florida, what's going to look in Oklahoma and Texas, and then California and everything else, it's just ripping ourselves apart.
I think that's one thing that I would always say that I admired about your organization here, Steve, that it is very diverse, open to whoever wants to come in.
I forget which politician it was that I listened to as a kid, and he was an American politician. He said the most important thing in a society is tolerance.
Yeah. Well, you gotta have some level of it.
And that's the part that it's so important. So before we sort of sign off, can we talk about Bitcoin?
What you want to hear about Bitcoin, man?
Bitcoin sets an all-time high.
Let me look at my wallet real
with
quick.
Its 66,000.
It makes me smile when I look.
There's a.
It does that. Your wife might start to get a little upset at you when you smell your phone like that.
Oh man, there it is. Oh,
there's
man,
a system
beautiful.
that I subscribe to, and I'm doing a mentoring program on investing because it's sort of interesting. It takes me away from real estate for 2 minutes, and this particular expert in crypto was basically saying that he believed, and this was like 6 weeks ago, that Bitcoin would be at 60,000 by Christmas.
Doesn't sound like
now
much
what
of an
he's
expert
based,
to me.
well,
That's what he's saying.
Christmas came early.
Yeah.
Well, what he's
Very
saying,
early.
what he's saying now, that he believes that Bitcoin's going to be 80,000 by Christmas.
Oh,
Wow. I think Bitcoin will either go up in price by Christmas or it will go down in price by Christmas.
Yeah. Well, what he's saying is that this is the part that he thinks now it'll just take off, and there's 3 cryptos that he thinks have really got
some traction.
a bearish run, and that's Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Cardano. Them are the ones that he thinks will really take off first. What's Cardano at the moment, Jack?
Probably like 220 or something.
$2.20.
Should I be watching that one? I don't even
Hey,
have that
dude,
one.
I told you to buy that before you bought Bitcoin.
Did
sir.
you really?
Yes, sir. I did.
Oh man, let me get some.
220. Oh, look at me. What's up? 220.
He's on the money.
All right, Jacko.
Hey, I found this sucker when it was like 30 cents a pop.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
I'm gonna
so-
get some Cardano then.
So yeah, for those who don't know, Cardano so Ethereum was made by 2 people, Charles Hodgkinson and another gentleman by the name of Vitalik Buterin. They separated because they had different ideologies over how they think the currency should work. So Vitalik, who is about 22 or 23 years old, stayed on Girolamo Cardano, this gentleman right here. So that's who the name is named after. And yeah, it's basically Ethereum with some changes, with more smart contract enabled. So it's interesting to look at.
Now Bitcoin is capped at 21 million, correct?
Yeah, correct.
Ethereum is an open, isn't it?
Yeah, but Ethereum also burns tokens as well.
So with Ethereum, they're not limited to what they can produce, correct?
Yeah, correct. But the thing is, they burn the tokens every year. I don't know how they do it, but every now and then tokens get burned. So they remove supply at a certain point. So that's what happens there. And plus, on top of that, they add tokens in as well over time. So Ethereum right now has 118 million in supply. And it's $4,000. See?
Okay, so I got this Cardano. Where was it at when you told me to get it?
Whenever you bought Bitcoin for the first time, go back. Cardano, honestly, I think you got in like when you bought Bitcoin when it was like 52,000 because you got nuked on. I remember that.
Yeah.
So Cardano was probably like 280 at the time, so you might have gotten a little steal.
Oh, okay. I can go with
So
that.
I'm gonna let you guys in on a little alpha here. So there is I think you have to go to TradingView. Am I signed into my TradingView? So on TradingView, there's a chart. It's this one right here. It's called Bitcoin Dominance, and it takes the overall Bitcoin price and puts it into a ratio of the total crypto market cap. So whenever you're trading like Bitcoin, the higher this is, the higher this chart means Bitcoin will lead the way more. So the lower it is, the altcoins, which me and my friends call shit coins, will outperform Bitcoin, because that means all of the money is flowing into these smaller projects. But when things go into price discovery like Bitcoin, where it's hitting all-time highs and people don't know where it's going, everyone moves to Bitcoin because that's the leader.
Right.
And so as you can see, it's starting to increase, which means Bitcoin is really going to coil up and go. So what I'm getting at is, like, the lower this chart starts to go, the more you want to move into altcoins like Cardano and other stuff.
Gotcha.
The higher this goes, well, you want to play the opposite of the chart, right? Because you're always trying to be ahead of the curve. So right here at the 44 mark is where I entered my Bitcoin positions.
Okay.
And then you want to start selling your Bitcoin when it starts to go up here, and then move into altcoins. You know the deal.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like Bitcoin is going to start going crazy here in a little bit. Yeah, I have the promised land. So I think personally 120 for sure.
Really?
200 is possible.
I'll be holding. That'll be beautiful.
Yeah.
That'd be beautiful.
On Bitcoin?
Yeah. I think
Again, this is not an advising platform for this.
We do not give financial advice.
We don't give
just
that kind of
discussing
advice. We're just talking, giving opinions.
We are
just
not
an ape on the
licensed
internet.
traders.
Absolutely. Do your own thing.
Do your own research.
We're doing some, just giving you little nuggets here of transparency. But I am in Cardano now.
Yeah, let me see what market cap. We go on here and see what else we got. Yeah, Cardano, it's always been like one of those big tickers, and especially if you've never heard Charles Hoskinson talk too, you should. Let me pull up a video so you guys can see what it looks like, and we can watch it real quick. So he just goes onto his YouTube channel, and he'll just live stream and be like, ask me questions. This dude is insanely smart. And it's not just about economics. He talks about like social justice and all that stuff. Let's see.
Charles Hoskinson, broadcasting live from warm, sunny Colorado.
Yeah.
Always warm, always sunny, sometimes
Crazy.
Colorado. So Cardano Foundation or the ambassadors or anyone in the ecosystem for your keywords. We'll never ask you for your private keys, and we'll never, ever, ever ask you to install some monitoring software on your computer to be able to help you. Okay.
This one's kind of,
if you have,
I want to get some spicy. There was something that happened not too long ago. Tax question. Oh, this was interesting here. It's 4 minutes. We'll watch this one.
Hi, this is Charles Hoskinson broadcasting live from warm, sunny Colorado. I have to go take care of some things today, but the question I have to a Canadian tax expert, if this was done in the United States, we have something called a lifetime tax exemption. It's about $11 million. But if you go above that, then gifts to an individual are taxed at, I think, a 40% rate. I'll have to double check. But it's actually taxed. So there's a tax event to move the money from Alice to Bob. In this case, from one protocol to another. And then when one donates, that's not necessarily in all tax systems completely tax deductible. So it's an interesting tax question I have, is this entire pass through from the creator to Vitalik to India, a tax neutral event or a tax negative event or tax positive event? And it brings up a very broad and interesting question, which is an attack that a person could do under US tax law. You know, when we have an adversarial mind or information security, we always think about these things. So hypothetically, we could create tax bomb coin and then trade it on a very small exchange to create an unrealistically high value. So even if a few dollars trade, you could still create a multi-billion-dollar value for a coin and then give all of that to a person you don't like. And technically under US tax law, that may be an income event for them at the
And they're responsible for the
value
tax.
of that particular token.
It's a good point.
So it is
too.
a really
like,
interesting thing. So I'm not exactly sure what U.S. tax law has to say about this and what Canadian tax law has to say about this.
So yeah, I mean, you can tell the guy switched on with stuff like this.
Sure.
So
I have to follow him. So his page is
Charles
Hawkins.
Hawkins. So you got to be careful though, because there are, I don't know how people or bots on YouTube do it, but like you'll have accounts that look just like this with like 300,000 subscribers, but when you go to their videos, they're empty. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's very easy to get scammed. You just got to make sure you find the right one.
Okay.
But I'll link this one in the description for anybody who's interested. But yeah, this guy, it's good for you to get behind the mindset of his idea because he's the one who created it. So you'll know directly from the source what he plans to do with it and how he's integrating it into society.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, Bitcoin, the number just doesn't stop going up, man. It does not.
We're in for the ride, right, Steve?
Absolutely.
66,000.
That's
And
all I
then another thing, they started trading the Bitcoin ProShares ETF. The first Bitcoin ETF is now trading on the New York Stock Exchange at $41.95 a share.
So that's on now?
Yep, that is live.
Okay.
The exposure value, so it has $570 million exposed in the Chicago Mercantile Exchange. And yeah, there's two more coming, I believe. So it is getting indoctrinated into society, only a matter of time. And also, the SEC put out a on their website. Let's see if I can find it. They put a warning about Bitcoin, which is funny.
Well, like a fraud warning or something, or
It was just
talking
like
against it?
you can lose money or make money in Bitcoin. It was like,
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you
Just
can
like
lose or make
everything
money.
else.
Yeah, exactly.
The
It's like,
stocks.
okay, I can make or lose money when I'm going to McDonald's too,
Exactly.
dude. So Bitcoin is a digital asset. Let me put it on here. Is a digital asset or an asset that relies on the blockchain technology. Bitcoin has also been called a virtual currency or cryptocurrency.
So you said there's two more ETFs coming, like a competitor?
Yeah, I believe so.
Okay.
And then I don't know if you guys know what this means, but ProShares, the ETF that got approved, this one that I just showed you, their ticker is BTFD. I don't know if you guys know what that means. It's right there at the top right. I'm not going to say it.
Ah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's cool. Well, I don't think it's cool. It's kind of lame, but yeah, it's here to stay. It's not going anywhere. A piece of retail trader lingo.
$43.43. I might have to get in some of that.
Yeah. And if you're trying to diverse into the stock market too, another company that I really like. Now I'm just full on cryptocurrency, but this one is really good. Marathon Stock is one of the biggest crypto miners in the country. And so it follows
What's their ticker?
Mara, M-A-R-A.
Okay.
And so that kind of follows Bitcoin as well if you're trying to get into some stocks. It's up 60% in 6 months, which for a stock is insane. It's insane gains.
Yeah.
So, yeah, if you're not a Bitcoiner, sorry that you don't get it. It's okay. You'll use it one day. But
you'll wish you had gotten it.
yeah, there's other means of joining the party in there. You just got to look.
Ooh. Yeah. Good information. Always good info from our resident SME on that deal.
Is that it?
What else you got, Steve?
That's it.
That's all
I'm
we got.
through for today. That's all we got for today, folks.
That's it. As always, of course, if you want to look at a real estate career, reach out to the Olympian. All the descriptions down below. If you're looking at for a mortgage, you're looking at a mortgage career. Look out for mine down in the description as well. And always like and share this content to whoever you think may benefit. We appreciate you guys joining us each week for this. We look forward to next week.
Thanks a lot, boys and girls. Have a good week.
We'll put all
Stay
the links,
happy and keep out of trouble.
We'll put all the links for today's stuff in the description as well, so you guys can check those out if you're interested.
Absolutely.
See you guys.